Looking
you always
good.
looking good, brother. You kidding me? Good.
All right,
great.
Jay, we're live.
We're live. It's 8:00. All right, family, we're live. So you may hear some wildness in the background, but we're live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another fabulous episode of the Whiskey Dads.
Yes.
Representing Uncle Nearest. We got all my teammates here rocking out. These are lovely ambassadors. All of us are ambassadors and folks who work for the beautiful company of Uncle Nearest Premium Whiskey. And also, too, we are fathers. Don't know which job is harder, you know what I'm saying? Some days. But I am Jay Madison, representing the city of Atlanta, Georgia marketing manager, coming here live and representing from down south, Dirty Dirty. And introduce the rest of my folks. Pass it on to you. No, this way. You, Matty C, out there in Cali.
Hey, everybody. I'm Matt Carlson. I'm a brand ambassador for Uncle Nearest in Los Angeles. I have she's almost 11 months, daughter, and yeah. Surviving here in Los Angeles in a very weird time right now, for sure. So I know everybody's feeling it across the country, but it feels weird out there right now.
It does.
Extremely. Yeah.
So
thank you, brother. Thank you, brother.
I'm gonna take a sip of this cocktail that Speedy's gonna introduce later, because it's not 8:00 here, but it's close enough. So
close enough. I'm gonna make mine while you guys are talking for a second. So I'll probably put myself on mute in a minute. But next on the microphone, my man Mac, coming from Virginia, DC, baby. What's up, Mac?
Yes. I'm the Whiskey Mac. Out here in the Virginia area. I've been a brand ambassador for quite some time. Loving this scene down here. We got in VA. There's a lot of good people that's pushing Uncle Nearest. I'm very excited about that always. I have a 5-month-old son. What's going on, Hershey? I see Hershey popped in the live comments. I also have a 6-year-old daughter. So my days here are quite busy, quite hectic. In fact, I think I jumped on right a few minutes before this started. Changing diapers. So
I think we all did.
Yeah. No doubt. So Speedy, you got it, brother.
Right.
How are you?
Hey, I'm Speedy out of Nashville, Tennessee. I am Uncle Nearest's favorite idiot, and also manage Alabama as well. And I'll be the lovely host with your cocktail this evening.
Ooh.
I'm the proud father of 2 teenage daughters, so it means I cry a lot. I used to drink more.
Cry a lot. Drink more. I feel you, brother. God.
Yeah. It's a hard road, baby. It's a hard road.
Yes, it is.
Well, shoot, that's it. So hey, man, welcome back, everybody, to another lovely show. I'm very happy and proud we made it. Can you believe, fella, this freaking July?
Woo.
Good Lord.
Yeah,
I know.
It just won't stop, man.
That is so
I'm like, all of a sudden we're in the summertime. Well, heck, Speedy, let's get into it, man. Tell us this lovely cocktail that you got to sip in, and while you're talking about it, I'm about to make mine here, right here on the side of the tray. So I'm gonna put it on.
I think the thing I was most excited about, Speedy, was the category of drinks that this fell into. Can you tell us what you describe this cocktail as?
Huh?
What?
I'm sorry, I'm fishing. It has to do with drinking on the patio. I'd never heard this phrase before, I don't think. So my wife got a big laugh out of it when I told her what I was making. She was like, that's awesome.
The tip today is Patio Pounder.
Oh,
It's not a stage name. It's actually what they do on cocktails. So we sell high proof whiskey. So DJ Madison. It's kind of intimidating when like here the heat index, it was 102 degrees today. It's great for the girlish figure, but that's really bad for brown spirits, right? So what you want to do is kind of make it a driving force to get people to knock it down really quick. So what I did was kind of a punch style. I can't win this. Punch style cocktail using a tea. So the tea that I'm using itself is Tazo Wild Sweet Orange Tea.
Ooh.
No endorsement. All right. So we're going to use that. Some Uncle Nearest 1856.
Ooh.
Going to put us on the map.
Yes.
Aperol. Yes, children. Aperol. So mildly bitter. It's kind of Campari's more friendly cousin, a little more approachable. And then, of course, Speedys Bitters. If I'm not going to use my own lavender bitters, this is the one I usually go to.
Okay.
It's very pronounced. It's kind of like when it comes to orange bitters, it's Regan's, which is up here it's orange, and and then you have like Angostura, which if I'm going to make an old fashioned with their 1884, I'm more likely going to use that and lighten up on my simple a little bit, just because they play so well together. All right, so also it's made with local honey. I call this cocktail the Remedy because when I first conceived it, it was for a farm dinner that was they had me positioned. Now this is approaching summer, and this is high allergy season last year. Okay, so I mean, it's kind of a bowl of death here in Middle Tennessee because we're in a valley, and so the weather patterns go over, the pollen hits, and it just holds and stays. Oh yeah, man, and we keep bags in our eyes. So what I do is I get local. Oh, there it is, local honey. And if you see the name on that, my daughter was like Chris Brown.
Yeah.
No, not that one.
I was about to say, honey too.
Honey, guys.
I try not to breeze my cocktails.
Hey, there you go, breezy.
Hey man,
I like that. I like that. I like how you slid that in there.
Me too.
With
That was good.
With the patio pounder.
The patio pounder. All right. So with this one, what I wanted to do was just get something again very accessible. And when you were asking me, I said, you can do a short shake, which is, a very quick shake just to get the components together. You can do like a quick swirl. With this one, we're just going to build it directly in my Uncle Nearest glass. Thank you. And, do a quick.
How come I don't have any though?
I don't have an Uncle Nearest Tom Collins glass.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting, man.
What's
What's going on? I mean, I don't understand.
You know a guy who knows a person who knows another person.
There you go.
It is.
Are these company sponsored glasses, or do you print them yourself?
They fell off a truck.
Perfect. Right
I
on.
do have.
All right, so we have an ounce and a half of Uncle Nearest. Oh, look at that.
I do have the Uncle Nearest branded metal straws, which I rarely use. So I got it for my patio pounder.
Yeah, when you get the patio pounder.
This was the time to use it, right?
all week, and you're welcome.
Yeah.
I first said, Leslie, to my wife, Leslie, I was like, I think it's a porch pounder. And I was like, no, that's not it. It's a patio pounder.
Yeah.
Patio.
Big difference.
Yeah, we use that term a lot at a place that I helped run before in my career on this side, a place called Whiskey Kitchen in Nashville. And we just had this patio that was always rocking. I mean, you couldn't move out there. I joked for the longest time, the only reason I was offered the job is I'm tiny and I can maneuver well in tight spaces.
Oh.
Because people were out there and knocking back. All right. Okay. So the local honey is syrup. The reason I use the local honey and the reason I call this a remedy, because again, at that thing, I was outside of a hay barn in the middle of hay fever season. So I thought I'd do something that would kind of, with 100 proof whiskey, if I can't have extra electrolytes, there might be some in the tea. We'll just say there is. Local honey is supposed to be good for the allergies because the bees pollinate. So local honey, thank you, Chris Brown. So we're going to get a quarter.
See what I'm saying? He's giving you life. He's taking care of you with this cocktail.
I'm doing it with you. You said how much of the honey? How much we doing the honey?
The honey is a quarter ounce.
Quarter.
Yes.
So for me, I got a that's going to be a half.
There we go. Well, you're sweet enough already, baby.
Hello.
That's about how I would do it. That's how I would do it.
Honey.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I approve.
All right. So we're going to do a half ounce of Aperol.
Okay.
Half ounce Aperol.
Mm-hmm.
Righteous.
That's a half ounce, right?
Yes.
Perfect. Because if you said an ounce, I would have been like, too much. Just half ounce.
All right. We're going to hit it with about 2 dashes of Lavender Bitters. Boom, boom.
Ooh.
Because I wanted to give it a little floral element. So, basically, even if you're sitting on a patio in the middle of the city, you can harken back to the time you were on a farm next to a hay barn in the middle of hay season.
Yes.
Not better.
Then it would be a porch pounder, right?
That would be.
If you have it on the farm, it's a porch pounder.
Exactly.
Okay. I got it. Good point. I'm still figuring out the nomenclature here. I just got to figure it out.
You got it. You'll know the difference between. Look, but you'll know the difference between patio pounding
and entertainment.
Patio pounding and porch pounding, completely different things. So you'll know
same drink, different location.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's the beauty of cocktailing, especially in the middle of something like a pandemic. And what you can do is just take these. You have your template of a cocktail recipe. and then you look at what you have on hand, and let's get weird with it. Have fun. I mean, that's all the point of cocktails. With this one, I dehydrated some oranges. And like I said, if you're feeling sassy, you can add a flower, some kind of floral component, something like that. With mine, it is a lavender bud.
I forgot the orange.
All right. I just put in my tea in there at the end. I think I got everything in there.
Matt, you don't have the orange?
I forgot the garnish.
Oh, brother, you porch patty. You porch pounding. You need to get out of here.
Porch pounding.
Oh,
yeah, you porch
I got mine.
Actually, I'm like living room pounding. Actually,
yeah, exactly. hey, maybe you are. I don't know. I don't know what's going on over there.
And look, I'm seeing a comment from.
No.
I hope nobody's watching tonight. It's just the only Ricky family we got on.
No, they love it.
No fall, nobody, right?
I did not think that through.
No,
Hershey says she feels like mint would go very well in that cocktail, and I think I would agree.
100%, yeah. And with Matt, he lent a little bit of effervescence with his. I said if you have some kind of sparkling water or sparkling wine, there you go. Soleil.
Also, I could not for the life of me find the tea that Speedy recommended. I must have gone to 4 different places today. They do carry it at Target, but it was not there. They sold out. People must have been looking for the ingredients for this cocktail in Los Angeles, Speedy.
Absolutely.
So I bought passion fruit instead, and Speedy made a couple recommendations, which I thought were pretty smart. So we switched up the bitters for my cocktail. Do you want to talk about that, Speedy?
Yeah, sure. So what you did was a pivot because your tea itself has hibiscus, but especially rose petal in it. And that rose petal in that tea that you have is very pronounced. So it's floral enough. So you're pounding on a patio that's over a flower bed anyway, right?
Right. Oh yes, it's right over there.
Exactly.
And since you didn't have the wine,
I can smell the rose hips from here.
Living room pound.
Oh yeah,
I get it.
And
so I didn't have Regans, but I used some Angostura orange bitters.
And that's perfect. That's
I'm right with you, brother.
It's muted. Mm-hmm.
So Speedy on the fly adapted his own cocktail, and it's delicious.
I bet it is, man. Now, one thing I did with Speedy's cocktail. Let me tell you.
Zach, we gotta get you to make one of these cocktails one of these days.
No, listen.
Let's get him on Cocktails with Z.
Hold on. I'm gonna tell you this. The reason why Speedy's cocktail is great, and all these cocktails have been great, is because they have one special ingredient that this is all I pretty much use for my cocktails. I use this with air, and it's beautiful, magnificent.
It's magnificent. Yes.
I call it office power.
All right. Okay. So hey, man, let's get an official. Sorry, let's get an official cheers. You crazy guy. Always a pleasure, man. Big love. Get your glass, brother. Big love and big shout out to everybody, man. Glad to see you all again for another month of Whiskey Dads. We're gonna have a good time. So cheers to all of us and cheers to Uncle Nearest, man. Building a legacy. Booyah.
Yeah, booyah.
Jay, do you want to tease out? So we've got
we
got a guest joining us in about 20 minutes. So we're gonna talk a little bit about what happened in the last couple weeks. But Jay, do you want to talk about our guest?
So we will have on my Morehouse brother and my fraternity brother, Dr. Bryant Marks, will be on again. He is actually coming from another podcast. The man is in demand. So he's coming on around 8:35. And so in the meantime, we're just gonna entertain you all with idle banter and make sure. Make sure you all learn a whole lot about this lovely brand that we continue to cement the legacy of. At the same time, too, when Bryant comes on, he's going to give us a little quick shot of his implicit bias training. So that's going to be very, very interesting, and also to kind of show you give you a sneak peek of what he does with his implicit bias trainings that he does around the country with corporate clients, with a lot of clients that are in the law enforcement too. So that's going to be really, really good, and we're going to enjoy it. As always, we're still living in the midst of COVID-19. We're still living in the midst of all the social injustice, Black Lives Matter, trying to get to the bottom of things, having a lot more conversations, which I'm hoping are leading to more things. Still keeping hope alive. But this is us continuing and kind of in a sense, kind of trying to continue our conversation, but also to kind of have a like a period put on it, because we've been having these conversations. This is probably like our fourth episode, right, Matt? You think?
On this one, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so this is a nice little way to in a sense, kind of put a cherry on top. But we're going to always continue having the conversation as Whiskey Dads, because that's what we do. But in the meantime, too, we have a good time. We talk about our lives as ambassadors, as well as our family life going on inside the house. I got a little piece. Like, I look really cool right now, and I'm not just talking stuff. But from my freaking day, you would not believe my freaking day. So everything has gone down. We've actually had an issue with identity theft in regards of our tax return. So I found all this out today. So it has been pure pandemonium in my household. At the same time, trying to pick up my car from the service shop. Kids in the house, just all hell breaking loose, and literally got on this joint like 5 minutes before we went on the air. I was like, okay, let's go. We're gonna figure it all out, and trying to make sure everything was squared away with Bryant Marks coming on later on and making sure he can get on, and he got all the technical stuff taken care of. So between Matt, Mac, and Sailor, what's up, Sailor? We'll have that all figured out. So it's been a wild time, but I feel and I understand that I'm not the only one who's going through some hacking, some identity theft, some nonsense like that. Didn't you have some stuff going on there, Matt?
Yeah,
you clued me in on, bro.
You told me about this, and I thought it'd make you feel better, because I know the impulse when something like that happens is like, oh, my password wasn't strong enough, or it might have been something that I did. But I don't know if you guys caught the news. I would say, wow, 20, 50 major Twitter accounts were all hacked at the same time yesterday.
What?
So it was Obama, it was Biden, it was Kanye, all sorts of people across the spectrum.
Whoa. And
they all posted the same message.
What was the message?
It was send Bitcoin to this address and we'll send back double. So basically it was a scam.
Wait, where do I need to send my Bitcoin?
Wow. Oh, no, don't send the Bitcoin.
Yeah. One guy like, hold on. But maybe I'll do it.
The problem, like, I don't know too much about cryptocurrency, but the problem with Bitcoin is that you can't track any of it. So people sent about $100,000 to whoever this person is that hacked.
Wow.
I mean, in the scheme of things, not an incredible amount of people, right? And I feel like a lot more damage could have happened, right? Like, there are politicians that they could have hacked, and God bless him, Trump uses Twitter all the time, and policy comes out of his Twitter account. And if he had said, we're about to bomb China, that would have been a much worse hack than send me some Bitcoin. You know
what's so bad about that is everybody would have believed it really came from him too. Because I mean, as bizarre as the tweets can be, you might think, this is legit. You wouldn't think it's really a hack.
Nonsense.
Wow.
So I just want to say that, Jay. So that made headline news, New York Times yesterday. So but I mean, it's still on a personal level. What exactly happened?
Like
somebody used your social security number to file a tax return?
Yeah. So pretty much they got the whole family, man. Wife, kids. I mean, just the whole thing, and filed for taxes. And the way we found out was, of course, my accountant hit me up. Another good Morehouse brother. What's up, Don? My man Don hit me up and was like, hey man, it rejected your tax return. I was like, what? Yeah. What you mean rejected it? Like, Yeah, he was like, you got to call these numbers and find out with the IRS. So I did. So I was on the phone for damn near 3 hours, y'all, trying to figure all this stuff out and just pretty much get the lowdown. Like, yeah, we're screwed. And so stayed on with them, but pretty much someone now the IRS caught it, so they didn't send out a tax return to this individual. And part of the reason probably was because this year I owe taxes, so that might have helped out the case. Oh, thank you, Lord. Sucks for me, but it's all good. But
they
didn't send out any money.
Maybe now we have to got hacked a long time ago. Maybe you really don't.
I think what. Listen, bro. I think me and my wife were talking about it, and we think it might have been that daggone Equifax breach that was like a year or so ago.
Yeah, see.
And at the time when it happened, we got on and we checked our stuff, and they were like, "No, you weren't compromised by the breach." And then today we got on, and it was like, "Yeah, you've been compromised." I'm like, "Great." great. So
Yeah,
what we think is because they got so many people's information, they're using it year by year. You know what I'm saying? They're not using everybody's stuff at the same time. They're like dipping in and out and doing different stuff every year. So
you don't owe
it's
money,
just gonna
man.
be it's gonna stink for a while.
I'm gonna tell
but
you right now, Jay,
we'll work through it, man. Like, hey, what else we got? We got COVID. We got police brutality. Then I got tax return. ID theft.
Yeah.
Hey, man, life is awesome. At least I'm alive. What the hell? I got a freaking job. I'm drinking whiskey and I'm hanging out with my whiskey dads. What the hell else I gotta worry about, bro?
I mean, hey,
life's good, family good.
I'm gonna tell you that's interesting, man. And people are getting, hacked. Because I'm gonna tell you, man, this is the thing about it. As much as we're relying on social media right now, you got to think, man. If this happens, or there's like some kind of major push to, cause a lot of confusion and issues when it comes to social media and all this text that we're dealing with, all this tech stuff, man, that's the last thing I need right now is my Wi-Fi or my computer or something to go down. I mean, I'm holding it together right now, but if that goes down, bruh, you can
total anarchy.
Yeah, I might start making cocktails.
Okay? Hey, man, we're here to help.
I might start making cocktails. That's it.
I'm gonna get the hack pounding out. I'm gonna just start making up some stuff, man. I'm gonna need it. Kate jumped in. Kate jumped in the live comments. What's going on, Kate? Hey, y'all, please keep making the live comments. We love this when you guys do this. Thank you so much. I see Hershey, Doug, Kate's up in there. I love it.
Oh yeah, we got some engagement going on tonight. I had to get my earphones in. Do I sound a little bit clearer, fellas? Does that sound clearer?
Sound good now, man. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Sailor always tells me to plug in my headphones, and I'm a knucklehead, so
you're like, I don't want to do it.
Sometimes I do, and sometimes I don't.
You do it. You won't.
I like being free,
Look,
this thing is hold me down, man. It's hold me. I'm held down by the wire. So much going on.
I feel you, Speedy.
Right.
Do what you want.
Right. Be
You're
free.
Whiskey dad. You're whiskey dad, bro.
That's right. So so what else is going on with you guys? Just to check in what's going on in your households, what's going on this past week with everything like that. Just to check in on us, because the other part about this is that with all this stress going on, a lot of times we just keep going, and literally you do not have the time to let all this stuff settle, to be able to have some me time, to be able to express yourself, or be able to just to be like, yeah, right, exactly.
None of that.
Just to be able to get this out, man. So our mental stability is at war right now with all the stuff, all the images we see, all the stuff we hear. It's a whole lot going on. And from that standpoint, I'm lucky because my daughter, who actually, I just got to say that she just got her license to be a couples and family therapist, just got her license, I think 2 days ago. So I have that beautiful thing, so I can call her up and be like, kind of sit on the couch virtually, but it's necessary sometimes, man. We need folks to talk to. We do. We really do. So, I mean, how you guys doing, man? For sure.
What are y'all sparking off? Because I got a lot to say. I got a lot.
I'll start. It sounds like Mac might take a while.
Yeah,
I'll give you the short version.
Get in there, Maddie C.
Like the good news.
Yeah.
The good news is that Jenny started walking.
Oh,
snap.
Yeah.
Game over, bro.
Yeah, game over. That's true.
You have so
that's true.
My daughter's almost a year, and the first couple of months, you guys might have had this experience. Like, we have a baby book that I filled out religiously, and then, you kind of slow down. So I have a piece of paper that I've written down like the milestones, so that then they will eventually get into the book. And so we had first steps about 2 weeks ago, but I didn't really think it was walking. It was like 3 or 4 steps and then sitting down. But she totally now just walks all over the house, which is kind of amazing. And it just feels like these milestones start happening a lot, like one after another. Like she started clapping. These things like started to snowball a little bit. So that's been exciting. I will say the frustrating thing that is a good story that I did today again. So I think I told you guys we bought the condo that we live in just before Los Angeles lockdown in March, which we were super grateful for because I don't know if we would have had our mortgage post pandemic.
Yeah.
But so we've been in this place, which we love. The kitchen's a little bit older. The cabinets, at some point, like obviously right now we just bought a house. We don't have money to renovate. So the cabinets are a little bit older. And one of the drawers, I don't know if you guys have had to fix the inside of a drawer before. I'm not particularly.
That can be tricky.
I'm not particularly a handy person, as I've never owned property and haven't. I mean, I've did things in apartments before when landlords, wouldn't do it, like put up blinds and hang stuff. But
there you go.
So I had a drawer that broke.
You're not a carpenter.
No, I'm not a carpenter.
That's right. Hey,
so we had a drawer that broke off its track. So the old drawers kind of have like a wooden dowel essentially that runs this way. It's not like metal tracks like a nice drawer would have now.
Yeah.
So it's this wooden track that like falls apart eventually. And the condos were built in the 50s or 60s, and it's probably the original one, and it broke. So we were stay at home, like only go get groceries. So at the time I got like a repair kit on Amazon. I fixed it. It was very stressful. I did it. Flash forward to.
You did it?
Yeah, I did it. It was great. I Skyped with not Skype. Who uses Skype anymore? FaceTime.
Same thing.
I'm a little old.
They all work the same way. They all work the same way, man.
I TikToked with my dad, and no, that's not even a thing you do live, is it? I don't know. My dad doesn't have TikTok.
You got me.
Anyway, so like he walked me through it. I was able to do it. Brackets but the kits that you buy are like the worst wood. I don't know if you ever had to do this, but they give you like just like the crappiest pine board.
Yeah.
And it worked, but then about a week and a half ago, another drawer broke.
Oh my! See?
Are you serious? Well,
so
you need to go to IKEA, bro.
There's only like 2.
Is IKEA open? Can you go to IKEA?
Yeah. So, the thing is, like, I'd have to overhaul the whole thing. So I just bought another one of those kits.
Jeez.
And I did it. So that drawer was just too heavy. We at some point like bought more silverware so we could have people over, which we're never doing again. So I don't know why we
sure. Right.
So the drawer is like 30 pounds, right? Because it's got all this silverware in it.
Great idea.
And it's like this old thin piece of pine that just buckled under the weight after 4 months. So I bought another one of those kits. I drilled it in, and the wood is so cheap that I put a screw into it and it just split open. So then I had to buy another kit.
Oh no!
And I don't have a saw, right? I have like a tiny little hand hacksaw because I live in a major city. I don't have a garage. I don't have room for power tools. So I have this like little hacksaw that I'm like cutting it to fit the third time.
Use your dad hands. Your dad hands can break through anything. That's a dad hand.
Anyway,
good point.
Just saying.
I've fixed a drawer for the third time.
You know how to fix a drawer.
The second time in 48 hours, and I haven't heard that awful sound where the drawer falls, like you hear the silverware fall.
Right.
So far, it's been 3 hours, so I'm feeling pretty good.
But 3 hours, okay.
All right.
Yeah. So hopefully it doesn't fall during this episode, because otherwise you'll see me start to cry probably.
That'd be perfect though, if it does, because that'll add so much to the story.
I know.
So much. Now I feel like crap because I'm like, dude, my woes are nothing compared to you and your drawers. But
what's in my drawers?
Patio Pounder to
what's in his drawers?
Guys, this show's gonna get canceled. You gotta be careful. This is an HBO.
Oh my God! Yeah, it needs to be at this point.
No.
Keep it PBS, everybody.
Look, it's all love, baby. These people are having a great laugh with us, I hope.
I hope so. Whew.
It's all a praise.
All right. So, good, stressful. But Jenny's walking, so my life's great.
Yo, look, we applaud that,
Yeah.
That's how we got to
take the good with the bad, baby. Amen.
Yes, sir.
All right, Mac, lay it on us.
Oh, my
Speedy man.
Speedy, yeah, we'll let Speedy go real quick.
Speedy, yeah.
Me? Okay, well, look, I'm going to tell you this, man. Listen, I'm going to be brief, actually. Mine is actually kind of short. But I'm going to give you the gist of this, okay? I forgot what date it was. Maybe it was on Tuesday. think it was a Tuesday. You know, these days kind of run together. But my son, who's 5 months now, all of a sudden catches a fever, and he's about 100.2 or something like that, 100.4. Keeps going up to about 100.9, and we're just like, because he goes to one-on-one, you got to take him out, and you don't want to do that because they're going to do the COVID testing. And so even with that, it was just this fever's coming up. I mean, he's getting really, you can tell he's really like, he's not himself. He's kind of, tired and all that. I'm getting extremely kind of worked up about it. My wife is Joe cool with it though. She's like, hey, listen, let's just see. We'll keep, testing, checking him out and everything. And it'll go down to like 98, 98. I'm like, okay, good. And it'll go right back up to like 100.2, whatever. So I'm kind of freaking out. And this is the thing I want to say this real quick about dads out there, especially if you have a newborn. More than likely, if not all the time, I'm pretty sure your baby will get a fever. I mean, babies get fevers. That's just how it happens.
Sure.
Right? But it stresses the crap out of you because you're not used to that. You're used to if there's somebody being sick, then it's an issue. It's a problem, right? But babies get fevers. My son is teething. So we're like, okay, it's probably because of teething. Makes sense. Now, here's the thing that drives me up the wall, brother. That night, we're about to lay down. It's probably about midnight around this time. And my son's feet and skin start turning blue.
Uh-oh.
Yes.
Oh, what the hell?
Yes. Blue. So I'm like, you got to be kidding me, bro. I'm freaking out. I'm telling the asses like, look, we got to do something. We give him some Tylenol. 30 minutes later, he's good. But I mean, I'm going to tell you this. Within those 30 minutes, I'm freaking out. Even then, I'm still watching him. Okay, the next day, fever's going down. And then the next day, he gets this rash. We see the rash, but that's probably from the fever, blah, blah, blah. But, the fact that you can't just get up and go to a pediatrician or whatever, it just freaks you out. All these things that got to happen. I found out my son, they believe, had rosola. Have you heard of this? Rosola? My daughter didn't have it, but they say it's extremely common.
Where's my wife?
Yeah, rosola.
Honey, what's rosola? Anybody know?
Rosola? Anybody know rosola? But I'm going to be honest, man. If your kid gets that, it is a freaking weird thing because they get this extreme fever. Well, not extreme. Let me take that back. I'm excited about it. I use flowery language sometimes. But you get the fever, and their skin turn like a color. And my son is very, very fair. You know what I'm saying? And the thing about it, man, it just like I was like, and I'm running out of excuses. Like my wife, well, yeah, it's teething. And all of a sudden, this is something a little more, crazier. But again, this dads, it's crazy. There you go, Kate. Yes, it's common. And the rash comes after the fever. It's scary as crap. Thank you, Kate. What? Absolutely freaked me out.
That's a whole lot going on, bro.
I'm telling you. So you're talking about all this stuff going on in the world
right now.
Rosola. Am I saying it right, Kate? Probably not. But that's how it looks. If you read that word, rosola, yeah, it hurts you. It is scary. I'm gonna tell y'all. That's why your boy Matt gets in these times where I'm just like, I just want to breathe.
What?
If I can just breathe,
man.
Man, I didn't know he's doing good. All is well, but yeah, crazy stuff.
Whew. There you go.
Medium
good.
Form.
Well, hallelujah, man. Glad the young Macadocious is back up and fighting a good fight, man.
That guy's a stud.
Is he screaming? Is he screaming now? Keeps you up at night?
He's all laughs. I'm gonna be honest. He is the happiest little bundle of like goo because the kids, they don't have much of a muscle tone. I look up and he smile. He got this real cool smile. Like when he see me come by, he be like, "I'm like, oh man,
right.
What's up?"
Spoken like a true dad who stays swole. You know what I'm saying? Yo. Hey y'all, Mac is like a superhero, man. Like this guy shaves us so bad when he shows up. His shirt's all like super buff. I'm like, man, please. So I can hear you talking stuff about your son being goo right now.
Oh man, he gonna be a stuff. He like a little running back. He like a little fullback. Yeah. He just want to get a ball and just boom go through the hole. So
there you go, run through and bang somebody.
There you go.
Right.
I think Kate gets a
man.
pronunciation too. So roseola.
Roseola.
Sounds like a fancy pizza, really.
Roseola. It sounds like you want to order
like a pizza with rose petals.
Yeah, I'll have the roseola. I bet you will.
This
Is that right?
cocktail would go great with a Roseola pizza.
I know we're going to even better. That's good old Uncle Nearest 1856.
All right, the porch pounding, patio pounding, and Roseola pizza. So what you got up there, Speedy? What's going on in your world with the teenagers, bro? I know it can't. It's got to get better, right?
No, it don't get better. Dang. I feel tired already. You just say it. I just feel like I just want to.
Please,
my son.
Help us, Speedy. Help us, Speedy. Please, Speedy. Please help us.
Oh, I am. Yeah.
There you go. That'll do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I've got one that she's going to be 16 in about 10 days. So I mean, she stays in a room. She's kind of like a ghost, right?
Yeah.
So she comes out to feed, and that's about it. But it's like she'll be texting us from another room.
Like a vampire.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
Jay's out of here. Jay has left the building. You freaked him out.
Oh.
See, I scared him.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it happens. He'll get back in. But yes, go for it.
My youngest, she's been babysitting our nieces. So it's my brother-in-law's 3 kids. So she's been doing that a couple days a week and making some scratch on the side. So she's been, welcome back, brother.
I pressed the wrong button. But by the way, as soon as you're done, we're ready to bring in Dr. Marks too. He's shown up on the screen, so
great.
He's backstage waiting for us. But give us the real deal, Speedy, man. I want to hear this, man, for real.
Oh yeah, okay. So I was just saying, my youngest daughter, she's been babysitting, so she's learning how the mighty dollar works and all that stuff. So, and she's been doing some online shopping. So she's done her back to school shopping. I'm like, I know you can't wait to FaceTime and show off your new Jordans, and stuff like that. So yeah, nice. She's been having fun with that. We've been dealing with some, if you guys have ever been on like a Zoom with me, and I'm in on my patio without the counter.
Yeah.
I've been on my patio. And you see the back. Well, I have all these big trees. So I've got this 200-pound dead sycamore in my front yard that, luckily we caught that one in time. But we've got one that's just leaning on the back of my house like this. So the other day I was on a Zoom meeting, proprietors meeting with Keith, the architect, and this other company that we're working with. And I could see Keith, the other guys, I didn't know what was going on, but yeah, these arborists were in my backyard just kind of walking around. And I know they were thinking like, where the hell is he right now? But yeah, we're dealing with that and trying to shop around, man. But trees, they're damn expensive. But yeah, that's about it. I'm really excited to talk to our friend. So if you want to go ahead and bring him in, Jay.
Yeah. I will bring him on.
Yeah, buddy.
Yvette's in the building too.
Here we go.
What?
What's up, Yvette?
Yvette's in the building.
Dr. Bryant Marks. We loosened up the tie. What happened to the tie, man? What happened to the tie?
He's ready for a cocktail.
Yeah, man.
You need a drink, brother.
Patio pounder, bro.
How you all
doing? We're doing good, man. We're doing good.
All right, good.
Hey, Jake,
we have to
take Hershey's comment down a little bit. I don't know who put it up.
Let me see.
Not that I love Hershey. Thank you for doing it, but I want to be able to see it so the screen goes.
I don't know that everybody else can see that actually.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Right. And Jay left the building.
Oh,
I didn't mean for him to do that. Hershey, you
gotta be gentle with Jay.
You do, man. He gets mad. He's like, you know what, Matt? Guess what? I'm out of here. Oh, there we go.
That's it. It's like I keep pressing the wrong button. I'm trying to figure this stuff out, so I have no idea how to.
No worries.
That comment. Yeah. So Hershey, just keep them coming. We're reading it. I'm reading on Facebook. That's why we see it go down here, and I look back up here. But so good. Thank you, Lord, for bringing Brian to us, man. I know you had a long day, man. So we're gonna end it out with a cherry on top for you and let you hang out with the whiskey dads. And we're gonna pretty much act a fool and try to learn as much as possible from you. While we drink our drink. By the way, the name of our drink, Speedy, the name of our drink is what again?
The Remedy.
The Remedy.
It's COVID too, yeah.
The Remedy, right.
Yeah, I'm like, all right.
But it comes, it's a porch patio. It's a patio. It's a patio pounder. That's what we call it, a patio pounder. And I don't know why we call it that, But it sounds
told you.
hilarious.
Yeah, it's because it's like when you
It's
make it, you
easy
got to
drinking,
pound
man.
it. Don't you?
Yeah.
Do you pound the drink?
Yeah, because you just
I mean, you
knock
pound
them
it
back.
down.
Yeah.
You don't like pound the glass. You just
Yeah, you
go.
could.
Knock them back.
Yeah, you keep going.
Yeah.
Pound that bad boy down.
Yeah.
Now you can see.
I just wanted you guys to say it, not me. That's why I said that. I wanted you guys to say it, and so I can lay back and not get in trouble. It's all good.
That's what it's called.
So Dr. Marks. So how was your day been? And we ready to get to it, man. Talk to me, man. What's up, brother?
Everything's good. I've been doing a lot of trainings today. I did two trainings today. I did a couple of interviews, and then actually we just did a panel. We finished with Al Sharpton on
Nice.
Brother
Facebook.
Al.
Yeah. So
All right.
it's ongoing, man. It's a lot going on in the country, and so just trying to do my part.
That's good.
Excellent, man. Excellent, brother.
I just put you in a solo view there, so you're
All
the
right.
star of the show now, Dr. Marks.
All right. Cool.
Yes, sir.
Cool. So which y'all want me to talk about?
Everything. All of it.
Well, let's see. From our standpoint, where we left off last week, I think one of the last few things we were talking about was Mac made a very great point between us, Black Lives Matter and everyone having to yell out the charge of looking for equality, but more so trying to get the true definition, and more so making and refining it to maybe more so looking for equity. Yeah. And we talked about that, and we talked about the whole thing of going back and forth between defunding the police. I wanted to get a little bit of clarification on that one too, and then I guess we can go into doing your implicit bias. But from that standpoint, talking about the equity and equality for anybody who may have missed that, and then talking about the defund police as opposed to how people are thinking about it being such a bad thing, but showing how that can actually be a good thing from the standpoint of taking away from the military aspect from it as much, and more so putting towards social services and stuff like that. So moving the money around, and then let's get into the implicit bias, brother. So I'm gonna just turn you loose, bro.
Yeah. So in terms of the defunding the police, I mean, I think at this point you might have heard different things and what that really means. Really, it's more redistribution of resources. And so, I mean, if you're funding the police, but you got to understand, in most police departments, over 80% of the budget are salaries and pension payments. That's the vast, I'd say probably closer to 90%. Mm. So when you defund it, wow, there's not a lot of fat to cut, right? I mean, if they're buying military equipment, that's a small percentage, because they don't buy equipment every year. Like if they buy a tank this year, they might buy another one for 7-8 years. So in terms of the budget, it's not often a lot of fat. The huge police departments probably can find some pockets. There's probably some waste here and there, but for the medium to smaller ones, not necessarily the case. But if it's the case that if people retire or resign, rather than replacing them, taking their salaries and put it into a crisis intervention team that may have a social worker, a mental health professional, something like that, that sort of model I think can work, because you're not letting people go, you're not firing police officers, you're just not necessarily replacing them, taking their salaries, shifting it elsewhere. Now, the case has to be made that if you reallocate those funds, the loss of a police officer on the street will be made up for by the other personnel that you're employing, the social workers and everything else. And so, and it's possible to make that case. Depends on the city, depends on local dynamics, but there are models where that can work. So, and cops will tell you, man, they don't want to be out there, trying to diagnose people with mental health, or people who need to be in a drug treatment, and some things they're not trained to necessarily deal with. So
they're not qualified, to do that, right?
So many of them are okay with funding going to these other places, but you got to be careful. I think I said it before. It's probably going to get a little bit worse before it gets better in policing. Morale is low. Resignations have increased. Recruiting classes have decreased. Right? Mm-hmm. If you had a son or daughter coming out of college right now, would you encourage them to be a police officer? Exactly. I mean, you got to think this all. Right? Who does that leave? Right? Let me do a little split screen with you before I do implicit bias stuff, just to give you some context on a policing piece, right? So Let me see here. All right, let's share the screen real quick. All right, let me see if this works. Hold on. Let's go to screen 1. Share. All right, can you see my screen?
Crossing fingers,
Yes, sir.
looking, it's working. Oh, there we go.
There it is. Yep.
All right.
Hallelujah, it worked.
I was nervous
Good job.
about it. We figured it out.
Matty C, my man, my
I was
man.
put in
We
charge
got
of
it.
that. I was very stressed out. So.
I love that. That's my guy, yo.
Word up.
But please continue. This is much more important.
Dude.
So this is going to give you some context in terms of the policing piece as we have the discussion, right? So there's a little over 800,000 sworn officers in the U.S., which is the highest figure ever. About 15% female, 77% white, 13% black. Average salary is about $69,000, right? So that gives you some nice context, right? Most police are still white males, as you can see, okay? All right, but there's some diversity there. I mean, 13%, that's parity with black population, with 13.3% of the population. So we're on parity there.
Sure indeed.
Now, that 13% black is not equally distributed, right? Atlanta is probably 55% black, Atlanta Police Department.
Mm-hmm.
So you have certain police departments that 30%, they're clustered in certain cities.
Yeah.
So
Understood.
right, because the thing you got to
Right.
remember,
Not too many black people out there working in Helena, Montana, probably, huh?
right? And the thing you got, even in Georgia, the thing you got to remember about Atlanta, you say, oh, Atlanta.
True.
If you go 45 minutes in any direction outside of Atlanta, you in Georgia, right?
Yeah. Big difference. Huge.
You forget that Atlanta's in Georgia sometimes. You know, like you just think Atlanta's its own place until you get out of it.
Twisted. So
Amen.
that 55% black Atlanta Police Department, that doesn't apply around the rest of the state. You know, they're concentrated. So that's part of the issue as well. All right. But let's give you some some numbers in terms of the broad percentages. There's about 18,000 law enforcement agencies in the US. Okay, total police departments, law enforcement, 18,000. Okay. Here's the kicker. About 52% of them have less than 25 sworn officers. Most police departments in this country are small, right? What do I mean? So say in the South, you got Atlanta, right? You know, Augusta, Houston, New Orleans, whatever. Between all those cities is a whole bunch of land. And in that land is a whole bunch of towns, right? You got 1,000, 1,500 people. You got one sheriff, 3 deputies, and they close at night. Literally. They shut down. We go, why?
Wow.
Go home. Yeah, yes.
Wow.
Go home. Go night. Relax.
Right. You got to understand, less than 25 sworn. So these urban police departments, that's not typical, right? All right. Then minimum age, 18 to 21. Do you see? There are 4 states right now where you can be sworn in as an officer at 18. I think I talked about that before.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
right.
Man.
You're not old enough, but you can take somebody's life if you deem it necessary. Gun in the right? The prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain most responsible for decision-making and critical thinking, doesn't fully form until your mid-20s. So you got 18-year-olds with impulse
I
control.
think I'm still working on mine. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Gun in the bag.
What?
Minimal training out there, right? It gets deep.
Yeah.
Minimum education, GED. Nothing wrong with a GED. GED is cool, right?
Yeah.
If you barely had to scrap and scrape to get that GED, I don't know you're the best person or not, but we'll see. Right? That's part of it.
We'll see.
Right. Reasoning and problem solving skills, right? So they have to take an entrance exam. What does it measure? Reasoning, problem solving skills. That's a good thing. They have to write an essay, write out a sample report, just to show that, if they had a report on the street, they could write legibly, use appropriate vocabulary, that sort of thing, right? Fitness test. They still have to take fitness tests. They got to do running, push-ups, sit-ups, lift weights, sprints, and exercise. Exercise bike. Now, this is decreasing, though. Now, because there's a yes, remember, people are retirements are up, recruitment classes are down. If you're a police department and somebody picks up push-ups, would you really not let them in? Or would you be like, you know what? Don't worry about that. We got you. We need bodies.
Wow, that's unacceptable. Ain't that right, Mac? That's not cool.
Hey, you said it. You're right.
Right.
Gideon said it. Gideon said this is wow.
Right.
He's right about that.
Yeah.
In terms of training, it ranges from 12 to 24 weeks. 12 weeks, 4 months, right? So, I mean 3 months, 3 months. So up to 24 weeks. PDs, your NYPDs, they're closer to 4 weeks. Those smaller ones, right?
Okay.
Less than 25 officers, they're not in training for 24 weeks. Up to 1 year probation.
They don't have time.
Right. Up to 1 year probationary period in certain departments. Like certain departments like LAPD, their first year, they're on probation for that first year. And if they mess up, they can get sent back down to the academy. That's possible in some of the more rigorous departments, right? Next, they have to have basic technology skills. You know how they have like the laptops, they run your license plate. They got to be able to type basic, not just peck. Principal conduct. This is interesting. They have to be tested for or assessed because of their patience, respect, good judgment, strength, and integrity.
Wow.
How do you assess integrity?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Well,
I'm sorry. That's a great question because like you can't just look at somebody and be like, he's got a high amount of integrity.
Well, no, I'm saying, is there a test for integrity? Literally, that they do?
They give them scenarios. They do when they do background checks. They'll talk to their friend. I mean, they can go back as far as like your high school and middle school friends, depending on. But they want to see if you have a pattern of being a good person and not just being shady and stealing and be, that sort of thing. So they do. Some departments do extensive background checks, but again, it varies in terms of resources. Okay, but these are some of the things they looked at. They want to make sure they have people of character. They try, right? But people are good actors. All right. In terms of the background check,
great.
Pretty much felonies are no-go with some marijuana exceptions, right? So,
Hello. Thanks, Matt. I love that laugh, bro. Right on time. Coming from the great state of Cali. Hey, man.
Right. I mean, but even before it was legal, before it was legal, you got arrested, it's on your record, but now it's legal, you're a little flexible. So outside of the marijuana stuff, felonies are pretty much a no-go. It's somewhat secretive and subjective. Background checks, sometimes police departments hire a third party to do their background checks, right? Not even the cops themselves. So it's very, speaking of subjective, time from your offense matters. So say you got a juvenile record, did something, you're 15, now you're 30, 15-year gap, they'll take that into account, reliable work history, financial history. They run your credit. They see if you have bankruptcies, right? Because if you're financially compromised, then you're out on the street. You may be tempted. Yeah, just shake that drug. I need a couple extra. Yeah.
Good point.
Right. So they run all that. Then, of course, medical, drug, and psychological tests. Again, some of these psych tests can be beat. If it's really bad, they usually can catch them. But actors. Most departments are understaffed. Right. So again, if you're understaffed, you may compromise some of these requirements just to get bodies in. So as we're having
quick question, Bryant. They do the psychological test. Does this ever happen again? Like they do this to I guess during the probationary period or something like that. Say for instance, I'm thinking a lot of times some of these cops may go through a lot of psychological trauma while on the job. So like 10 years later, 15 years later, do they do these tests again or it's a wrap?
Nah, once you're in, you're in. And when I train cops, I thank them for their service. Actually, I thank them for their service, and I the fact that police officers, and please, everybody, listen to me. Human beings are not designed to be exposed to trauma on a somewhat regular basis.
Yeah,
human beings are not designed, right, to show up to a crash scene. The car's flipped over. Somebody's limbs dangling from their body. Their skull is cracked open, and their brain is seeping out of their skull. That's not normal. Human beings are not designed to show up to they get a domestic call. They show up to the scene. They walk in, blood and guts everywhere, right? A woman got a shotgun blast to her chest. A man shot himself, killed himself, and his 4-year-old girl got his head clean blown off. That's not normal. Right. We're not trying to see that.
Right.
Officers are somewhat regularly. It will affect them. But no, once they're on the job, they're exposed to trauma somewhat regularly. No, I mean, they get psych tests. Some police departments require them. Many don't. But once they're in, and plus they have the police union in the background. So now, the hardest part is getting in.
We need to put some money in towards that, like therapy for these cops on the beat, man. That's crazy, bro.
Yeah.
That's PTSD all day.
No doubt. That's what I tell them. And plus, some cops perceive going to therapy as a sign of weakness. Right? So I tell them, hold on. I'm like, so wait a minute. Y'all out on the street. There's you pull up on the scene, there's shots fired and all this stuff. What do? You call for backup. Backup comes and y'all handle the situation. So you mean to tell me if you're exposed to trauma, right? You're afraid to call for backup? Call that therapist, call that support group, call that spouse. That's the same thing. When you're in trouble, you call for backup. Some of them don't want to do that, right? I mean, just because way. Last piece. Now this is deep. Check this out, y'all. The least experienced officers going to be overrepresented in Black and brown and low income areas. Why is that? You must understand how officers are assigned to beats, to territories, right? It's seniority. So if I'm an experienced officer,
wow,
right, and I remember my goal for many of them is to make it home every night to their families. So I'm an experienced officer. I can choose my shift and my beat. So I've been on for 15 years. I'm going to take that morning shift in that affluent suburb or the affluent area, right?
I'm gonna hang out at Buckhead in the morning. Beautiful.
Right. And if most of the officers choose that, they're going home at night. Who does that leave going to the low income white, Black, and brown communities? The least experienced
rookies.
Right. It is structurally designed.
Wow.
But you can't hate on, because the senior officer says, I paid my dues. I've been in the projects. I was there for 5-10 years. Now I want to go home at night. That's a fair point. So what do? Right? So you got to rotate. I recommend a rotation. So seasoned officers every 3 years or so, they got to rotate through a high crime area. I mean, just because you can't just have a bunch of young cops there, right? So these are this gives you some context on the policing piece that allows us to have an honest conversation that has some balance to it. Okay. All right. So does that answer your question in terms of the defunding and equity, all that stuff on the police side?
Yeah. And I just want to put a point in here right fast, because to give a perspective, because that's very similar to a lot of times. I mean, of course, the man's mentality of seeing weakness as asking for help, but definitely I see that too. And I get this again from my daughter. We're talking about the perception of us as a people, as Black people, the amount of PTSD, the amount of stress, the amount of things that we have experienced in our lifetime and in the lifetime of our ancestors coming up through now. We suffer from generations of PTSD, and at this point in time, a lot of stuff that's going on, like man, how many videos have I seen with Black people getting killed? You know what I'm saying? In fact, I'm looking at this on Facebook or something like that, and these are more in our face. Things happen with George Floyd coming up, and so everybody's stuck inside for COVID, so they saw it. So it's like shock for me. I was like, it was just so heart-wrenching to hear him cry for his mother. That's what blew me away. So, but the fact of seeing these images, we've seen them so much, but I mean, us as Black people, a lot of times Black men are like, no, I'm good. We decide to move on. We decide to suck it up. We decide to tough it out. And a lot of times what I've noticed too, for Black women, when their son or their husband or their loved one is killed, and they're crying, they don't get the true opportunity to totally express themselves. They're not out there bawling. A lot of times people come and console them and stop them from really letting it out. Like we don't have necessarily feel comfortable letting ourselves be expressed to feeling all the stuff that we feel over all these daggone years, over all these centuries. It's a lot. So I mean, I can kind of recognize that, where cops are like, nah, that's weak, going to see a therapist, but we all need to go see somebody, man. And we're seeing a lot of stuff. And like you said, humans are not supposed to be experience all that, and we're not going to be okay.
I got a quick question, real quick, Doc.
Sure.
So this kind of goes back to the implicit bias training that you're talking about. I understand that this country has a long history of seeing Blacks as less than human, though. So if laws have been put in place for years, for centuries, and in different times. I mean, now, of course, we'll say the laws might not exist in that way, but if there were, this country has a history of having laws that said that Blacks were not even human. So that implicit bias training, how could it really affect? I'm just wondering, even today, does that affect people a certain kind of way, even today, by not looking at Blacks as humans, or not as looking at them as second-class citizens or anything of that nature? Just curious.
Yeah, so that absolutely plays a role. I mean, part of what we got to understand in terms of the history of our country, fundamentally, the U.S. was founded on two original sins, right? Genocide and displacement of indigenous peoples, or what we call Americans, and enslavement of Africans, right?
Yeah.
Control of the Black body has always been in the economic interest of this country, right? So we needed labor to work the land, right? During slavery, that you got to understand, when The origins, I'm going to tie these two together. The origins of policing, I might have mentioned this before, but the origins of policing in the South, in terms of people that eventually became police, prior to becoming police, their main function, right, prior to and just after becoming police, was to capture runaway slaves.
Right.
Why is that? The police's job is to protect life and property and a threat to it. What were slaves considered during slavery? Property.
Property.
The plantation owner would say, go get my property back. Black slaves would say, I'm going to steal away, as if you're stealing yourself away because you're property. Right? You got to understand. Right? The chattel slavery is a property thing. So yes, Black bodies as object has always been with us. So it's going to take a while for mainstream or white America to transition from seeing us as property and subjugated to being equal human beings. That's a process. Even if their heart wants to do it, the history makes it difficult. They got to work to do that, right? And so, yes, if you are a police officer, Chauvin, and you have your knee on this Black male for 8 minutes and 46 seconds, the last 2.5 minutes of which he wasn't moving at all, quiet, lifeless, right? That was a disconnect. There was no human empathy there, right? Because if you have empathy and you can connect with somebody just on a human level, why would you do that? If you imagine that person with your brother, wife, your spouse, or even you say, okay, he's handcuffed, he's subdued, not moving. Over 2 minutes with him just laying there, quiet, not saying anything else anymore. There's something else was cut off in him that he couldn't see this brother as even human. So that
it was like game, like he was like sitting on a deer or something like that.
Right. What did we hear about Rayshard Brooks in the Wendy's shooting? Somebody caught the officer afterwards when he was shot saying, "What? I got him." That's what he said. I got, like it was
right.
He was
right. Like he was out hunting.
Right.
I got him. He was running away. I got him.
That's the language of objectivity. And I'm not saying that all police officers, see it that way, but he said, "I got him." Like the goal. That was the prize. Like it was a predatory situation. Okay. So bodies have been objected for hundreds of years, no doubt. This country was not built for us in its design from its inception. Please understand. All that stuff, bring me your free, your hold of masses, all that romanticized stuff, that's nonsense. The U.S. was based on two original sins: enslavement of Africans, genocide of Native Americans. Our origins were economic. Please understand. History of the U.S. in 2 minutes. You ready? Did I do this one before? Did I do this with y'all before? All right. I did.
I don't know, but give it to us again. Let's go.
Right. 1800s, right? Rich European countries wanted to get richer. So they came over here. Northern, Central, Southern American, Caribbean. There's a lot of stuff over here. They want to bring stuff back to the European rulers. The European rulers said, "Ooh, this is good. Gold, silver, timber, we want it all." Brought it back. Right? And then they said, "Well, right, let's take over that land." Explorers said, "Well, there's people there." Got rid of the people, right? Then got all this land, went to Africa to work the land. U.S., richest, most powerful country in modern history, right? But if you have free land and free labor for over 246 years, you would be rich too. And if you're not, there's something wrong with you. 1819 to 1865. Don't romanticize the past, right? So yes, your question is extremely valid. Seeing these folks who used to be objects and subjects now want full rights to be equal with me, that's going to be a process, right? Just logically.
Right.
Then that's kind of like, so that's what I was talking about last time we were talking about equity. One recent story that just came out recently was Asheville, North Carolina, has decided to, make some amends or reparations for Blacks, particularly in Asheville. And there, of course, people are, the media, some of the talk in there as well. It's no actual direct money, but they are saying that they're going to build, help support Black businesses, help support home ownership. I guess I'm asking this question because I'm saying if we're talking about, Black people being viewed as an economic, decision, more likely as having them as slaves, now are reparations the goal of how we see as Americans this relationship with Blacks and Black Americans? Is this the way towards getting out of the funk we're in? I mean, is reparations the way to go with this? I mean, I'm not saying you got to have an answer. I'm just thoughts,
Yeah, I mean,
real fast. I want you to answer that, Dr. Marks, but then after that, let's go straight into that implicit bias training because I know we've been waiting to do that for a minute. So go ahead, man.
Gotcha. And I'll do this. I'll do another screen share on the equity side. But in terms of the reparations, I think that's, yes, they can work if you are looking at the sources. So checks, I don't know if that's going to work right now to check directly to people, but using funds to fix the
Sorry, I saw Dave Chappelle for a second.
But using to fix the institutions that systemically oppress Black people, historically speaking, education, criminal justice, healthcare, doing those things, those investments, right, and an equity from equity lens would be great. All right, so let me. I'm going to share this real quick. And now I use this image, a little bit with trainings that I do to distinguish equity and equality. I think I told you about this before, but I think this image sort of makes the point pretty clear. Some of you might have seen it before, but I'll share it here real quick. Okay.
Yeah, that's
right?
the one.
Gotcha.
You see this before, right? So the goal is for these people to watch the baseball game, right? Equality is giving everybody the same resources, right? As you can see, this person right here being overserved, this person served about right, this person still be underserved. The goal is not achieved. Equity takes their situation into account and allocates or gives out appropriately, right? So this person doesn't need anything. He's good. This one person needs one. This young man needs two. All of them can see the goal is reached. Okay. So, reparations. All right.
For both. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so the notion is for reparations, it's like, okay, our school system have been deficient for 100 years. So when the next budget comes down, you put more into that local school system serving Black folks than the system serving white folks in the last 10, 20 years. You adjust to make up for it. Right? Whether it's criminal, whether it's healthcare, whether it's food deserts, address the factors that contribute to the gaps in life outcomes that Black folks experience. I think that approach probably has some legs to it. Because the notion for some people just writing a check, this doesn't sit well. Okay. All right. Let me go through this piece real quick. In terms of implicit bias. All right, let's do this. Let's go here. All right,
that's baby girl. That's a long time ago. Zion. Look at Zion.
Yeah, man.
I'm sorry, I had to give a shout out to the little niece.
Right. So she was 2 there. She's 13 today.
Wow.
Today?
No, not her birthday's not today, but yeah, she's
13. Like today. Okay. I was about to say, what? You didn't tell me that. All right. Yeah, well, happy 13, whenever your birthday is, Zion.
Yeah. So let me walk you through a quick exercise, right, as we start this implicit bias conversation, right? So I'm going to describe it for you. Now, you might have heard this scenario before, brother.
What's up, man?
Okay, I'm not going to bed for a little while. I'm sorry, my son just came in.
No, I get it. It's great. I hear mom screaming right now.
Hey, you a whiskey dad, brother.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Oh, there you go.
All right. So y'all can't see that, but yeah, he's okay. All right. So this scenario is called the accident.
I love it.
So everybody listening, some of you have heard this before. So if you heard this before, I'm going to ask a question at the end. If you heard this before, do not respond. Just sit in your silent brilliance. For those who have not heard this before, we'll play it out. Okay, here we go. A father and his son are driving. It's late at night. It's raining pretty hard, right? Roads are really slippery. Car starts to swerve back and forth, spins out of control, crashes into a tree. The father is killed instantly. EMT workers come to the scene, pick up the son, take him to the nearest hospital. They check him out in the emergency room. Like, wow, he's pretty banged up. He needs surgery. They send him upstairs to the operating room. The surgeon walks into the operating room and says, I cannot operate on this boy. He's my son. How is that possible? Pause. For those who've heard this before, don't say anything, right? But give me some possibilities. What do you think? If you've not heard this before.
I have not heard this before, but I get it already. It took me a second. I'm gonna be quiet. I want you to know that I know.
Okay.
That's why I want to say it. But I can't.
You're smart. We get it.
You're brilliant, sir.
I really
your brilliance.
All right. So here's the most popular answers that we hear across the country are like, stepdad, adopted dad, priest, like priest you call father, same-sex dads, sperm donor in the mix somehow, right? But go ahead. Tell me what the answer is to this riddle.
I believe the surgeon is his mom.
There you go.
No, see, I'm telling y'all, your boy is on fire. I don't know if it's Uncle Nearest. I have no idea. Thank you, Mom, Dad. Okay, come on.
Here's the deal, though, right?
That might have been it. Yeah.
If y'all heard this before, hearing it for the first time.
Nah, that's my first time actually. Seriously.
Mm.
That's
First time.
That's cool. But when the vast majority of Americans hear this riddle for the first time, their instant response is not the surgeon is the mom, right? They come up with male-based responses. Eventually, they may get to the mom if they get to it at all. So,
wow.
Right.
That's a good point, though, Doc, because my first thought was his dad didn't die, and all of a sudden he went to work some kind of way. Like, I was thinking, that's crazy, though.
Right. Male. That's all we're thinking.
Yeah, that's fact. Well, you see,
no, Mac.
Yeah.
Mac, what was your mom or your dad was a doctor?
My dad was a doctor. Yep.
Okay.
Okay. All right. I thought you had a little bit of cheating right there if your mom was a doctor, but go ahead.
Nah, good point.
Although intellectually we all realize that women can be surgeons just like men, there still may be a little itty bitty part of you that equates surgeon with male, and that is bias, right? That's where it lives. That's where it swims. That's where unconscious associations between groups and traits that we don't even know we have. The reason many folks have difficulty with that riddle and give sort of these male-based responses is because when they think surgeon, they think male, and they don't even know what happened, right? Bottom line is this. Say, for example, let me put this back up. I'm gonna
this is a commercial.
What's that? I'm gonna throw out a few occupations, right? So I'm gonna throw out the occupation. And then I'm going to ask you who comes to mind, male or female, okay? And don't try to impress me, okay? Just say who comes to mind, male or female. All right, yeah. Right?
Uh-oh.
And then you yell out loud, male or female. Just be honest, all right? Who comes to mind when I say nurse, male or female?
Female.
Who comes to mind when I say secretary, male or female?
Female.
Who comes to mind when I say kindergarten teacher, male or female? So by you saying male, right, that doesn't make you sexist. That makes you human, right? You may have lived a life where you happen to come across more female nurses and female secretaries and female kindergarten teachers. And the recorder that's running in your mind throughout your lifetime is keeping track of those exposures in a cumulative fashion, right? Until your mind on its own gets to a point where it locks in that association for you. Here's the deal, folks. As you live your life, we're all overexposed to certain groups and certain traits and certain groups in certain roles. And upon repeated exposure to certain group and certain trait, certain group and certain role, your mind says, I got this. It'll lock it in. You will not know when it happens. It is subconscious.
Yeah.
But once that happens, the seed for implicit bias is planted. It may blossom, it may not, but it's there. Let's do it like this. Besides Barack Obama, right? When I say president of the United States, what race comes to mind? Tell me.
White.
Right? Okay.
White.
Yeah.
Gender comes to mind.
Say it again.
Wait, what?
Gender.
Oh, male.
Okay, so by you saying white, that doesn't make you racist. By you saying male, that doesn't make you sexist. With one exception, male presidents is all you've ever known. Throughout the history of this country and your history books on your money, you've only seen white male presidents with one exception. We know that a woman can do the job. It just has not happened yet. So until it does, a woman is unlikely to come to mind when you think president of the United States. Doesn't make you sexist. It makes you human. You've never seen one, folks. Be a feminist to the 10th power. And I say president of the United States, and you still think white male. Doesn't make you less of a feminist. The mind can only lock in that to which has been exposed. No one on this call or listening to us right now has ever been exposed to, has ever seen a female president of the United States. So why do you think one will come to mind? Let's do it like this. Finish this for me. Finish this. You ready? Peanut butter and
jelly.
So by you saying jelly, does that make you a bad person? No. But you might have lived a life where you happen to come across peanut butter and jelly paired together more often than other things, right? Everybody listen.
Is it bad if I like grape jelly as opposed to strawberry jelly?
Grape jelly is the only way you can do it. If you do it with strawberry jelly, something wrong.
Raspberry, guys. It's raspberry.
That's the American way.
What?
That's the American way.
That's right. I'm sorry. Just trying to break it up just a little bit. Go ahead.
But the bottom line is, there's really two ingredients for having bias. I'll make this simple, make it plain. You ready? 2 ingredients for having bias. Number 1, living in society. Number 2, having a brain. That's it.
Good gracious.
That's it.
You're going to be biased regardless.
If that applies to you, you have implicit bias like everybody else. It is unavoidable, built into
But I'll say this though, Doc. One thing I will say is so now I live in Northern Virginia. And nobody on my street, I mean, like most people, they're not the same. They're like my neighbors, I think, are Filipino. One is Filipino and white. The one outside of them is Eritrean. So I'm just saying, like, being able to live in this kind of area versus when I lived in North Carolina, you were either black or white. If we had an Asian in that area, people would be like, "Oh, wow, do you know the Asian?" I mean, that's kind of how it was. I mean, it was crazy living in this area where you have that multitude, and now you're actually going to work with people, and even to my gender, now with transgender, you're having that coming into play more and more, and it's a beautiful thing. So I would say certain areas are better in the sense of you're just exposed to it more. Like my daughter, like we look at people and we think black and white. The beautiful thing now is you kind of have to get into the nitty gritty. Like they're not necessarily black. They're either African or they're Afro-Caribbean, but they're not black, So
Right.
It's interesting with that.
No, you're absolutely right. And that's a key thing when you talk about implicit bias. The way to look at this thing, and it's clean and it's clear, is through the lens of disproportionate exposure.
There we go.
All been overexposed, right? Certain groups, certain traits, and certain groups in certain roles. And upon repeated exposure, your mind will reach a tipping point with a lock association automatically. You will not know when it happens. But when it does happen, the seed for implicit bias is planted. It may blossom, it may not, but it's. If I say to you, police officer, and you think male, you're not sexist, but 85% of police officers are men. Yeah. So in your life, you might have come across one male, and your mind locks it in. It doesn't mean you consciously don't think about the officers, but it's in there. And we have thousands of those associations swimming in our head below conscious awareness. You don't even know they exist, and you're still good people. You're still good people.
Right.
So I have a question. Without exposure, right? Without everybody in rural areas moving to cities and being exposed to people who are different than them, how do we combat those biases?
Right. So we're going to get there. Let me hit you.
Okay, sorry.
There you go, Matt.
Right,
there you go.
Good job, man. Way to get in there. Talking from Michigan, moving to New York City. Good job, buddy.
Hey, not everybody can do it.
Right. So I'm going to build to that. Let me hit y'all real quick, right? So in our training, because our training is all about empathy, right? So empathy is humanity. It's not guilt, shame, and judgment. We don't go through that route. We don't find that to be extremely effective. So we go through empathy and humanity, right? So we do this question. We'll ask people, when Americans think of young black males, right? What words or phrases come to mind? And so we'll put this question up. We'll do this not only with police, with everybody, because we train criminal justice, education, healthcare, social services, nonprofits, and corporations. All those sectors, we ask them this question. The slide I'm about to show you is pretty typical of what we see, okay? All right, so this is a group of public school teachers in the Northeast. We asked them this question. Here's their answer. Here we go. Right? Check all this out. Now, this is a word cloud. So the words that appear on this font size, those are the responses that were given most frequently. So the bigger the word is on the screen, the more people that gave that particular response, okay? Now, as you can see, the most popular answers here: thug, criminal, dangerous, aggressive, lazy, angry, suspicious, trouble, bastard. So you see the cluster in here. This is typical. This is a group of diverse public school teachers in the Northeast. Here's the thing, folks. Everybody gives these answers. But this is what I ask people to do, okay? I need you to feel me on this. And everybody listening, this is walk with me through this exercise. Here's what I need you to do.
Preach, bro.
Looking at the screen. I need you to literally imagine yourselves walking through life with this as your personal brand. That when people thought of you, yes,
we're screwed.
Make it personal. They thought this, and what your life would be like. I need you to sit with this for a second, right? You walk into the office building for the interview, this walks in with you. You walk into the bank for the loan, this walks in with you. You walk into the office hours of that professor seeking help, this walks in with you. You walk down the street past that police officer, this walks in with you. Literally imagine if when people thought of you, yes, you, make it personal, they thought this, and what your life would be like. Now, a few things. Don't deflect. Don't say, well, what about my group? What about this other group? I need you to be them for now. Everybody watching, be them for now, right? Also, this is not a moment. I'm not trying to make anybody feel guilty. This is an empathy moment. Can you see the world through the eyes of someone different than you just for a moment and imagine what that would be like? Also, please note, I did not ask you what you personally believe, right? So when I train folks and they give these answers, because we do it through a polling system, they give these answers. I didn't ask them what they believe. That wasn't the question. The question was, when Americans think of young Black males, what words or phrases, traits or characteristics come to mind for them? But all my audiences, their ability to fill up this slide with these words does not necessarily reflect that which they personally believe, but it does reflect that to which they've been exposed.
Can I say something real quick? I think it's interesting that, these words come up. So real quick, well, I was going to say about those words. What's interesting though is a lot of people that have been successful, that are Black, at least especially Black men, have, and this is going to sound messed up, but they have gained their success by kind of sticking to what that image is. I mean, like athletic, there's a lot of, when you think of like black men that have progressed, you don't think you don't think about the ones that are, technology owners or technology CEOs, and that word does not necessarily come up. So it's almost like the more you fit that role, the better off you will be not understood, shouldn't say that, but the better off you will be accepted in a way. And this is what's so bad. Accepted in a way that you fit. And I think that's why a lot of Blacks tend to try to fit into this, because it gives them an identity. When you go against that, like, think about it when and I'm just speaking kind of openly, but, being a nerdy Black guy who is into something, that's outside of this, you don't fit America's definition of you. You don't even fit your own personal definition of you. And so other people see you as, this whatever. So it's almost like some people that have tried to make it in the world try to accept this as who they are, which is terrible. But I'm just saying, that's a lot of, there's a lot of examples of that, I think.
Yeah, so if you're a young Black male, 12, 13, 14 years old, and so you find out that the world sort of views you this way, you can understand a child, 12, 13, 14, saying, well, if the world views you this way, I might as well be that way. Right?
Right.
And that's a sad thing, because you can't.
It doesn't make sense to try and go against the grain.
Absolutely. And when you go against the grain, you already know you feel like you're gonna be an outsider or ousted from anybody or anything, and you won't be successful. Which is so good. While I'm being honest, and I'm sorry I'm going off on a tangent, which is so good that we have Uncle Nearest, we have Fawn Weaver, who and I know I'm putting Fawn on the spot with this, but does not fit this. And there's more examples of people like yourself, Doc, like Jay, who don't fit this. You see what I'm saying? But all you see on TV and mainly, at least, and I'm talking about the time of me growing up, I'm not talking about just right now, is you see people that fit this, that get that type of draw, right? So
yeah,
but I think there's a plan. Those are the images that are put on there to show you that in order to continue to put in those what you're exposed to. That's planting that in your head.
Right. And so, folks, you got to
think
the distinction. This is not a character, good person, bad person issue. No, this is a human psychology issue. Right. Any human
like you said, Brandon.
Right. You live in a society, you have a brain. That's it.
Right. Yeah.
Everybody gives these answers because we all, in the US, because we all live in a society, we all have a brain. We might be a good person, but we all see the same commercials, the movies, the TV, all that. This stuff is in the air, and we're all inhaling. Right? That's how this goes. It's not a character issue.
That's
right. So once you can accept it, that is in you, not because you're a bad person, because you're human, you got a brain in society, and this is in you. That's why everybody gives the same answers. But once it's in you, once you can provide these words to this question, that means it's in you. And once it's in you, the potential for bias is there. That's all it takes, right?
Yeah.
So our definition, right? Implicit bias. What is it? Unconscious beliefs, evaluations, feelings, or behaviors that directly or indirectly benefit oneself or one's group and or disadvantage an outgroup. Implicit bias tends to involve a limited or inaccurate perception of others. It often occurs via stereotypes, that is, group trait associations, prejudice, liking or disliking, or discrimination. Don't worry about this formal definition. The bottom line is this. Implicit bias always starts with the stereotype, an association of a trait. How do stereotypes form? By living in society and having a brain. Repeated exposure. Your mind locks in the association. Once that association is locked in, Black male equals athletic, nurse equals female, surgeon equals male, whatever the association is. Once your mind locks it in subconsciously, right? It can influence how you think, feel, and behave at a subconscious level. That's what it is. So implicit bias is a phenomenon where a stereotype can influence how you think, feel, and behave at a subconscious level. That's it, right? It's not a character issue. It's implicit bias. Please hear me. Implicit bias is much more about the machinery of your mind than it is the content of your character, right? So don't feel, let that guilt shame stuff, but you got to understand the process. Go ahead.
Real quick, I had a question from actually my wife sent a question. With that slide you had with all the different I guess perception implicit bias for black males, I guess it was more black. Was it black males or black people? Is there one that's more for black women? Is there something like that that has the same type of thing?
That was young black males. So we've done other groups, young black females. So yes, so certain perceptions of the group are gendered. So for black people, if I were to put up black females, you would get slightly different answers. You get things that deal with like sexuality, kids out of wedlock, that sort of thing. You wouldn't necessarily get dangerous, criminal, thug. You might get non-intelligent. You might get irresponsible for both. So some of these traits overlap male and female, and some are gendered. So that is definitely true. Okay. In terms of these subsets.
Okay.
So we got our definition. That's sort of our working definition.
I figured that would be different.
Right. Here's some key findings you know about past 30, 40 years of research, right? Actually, I'm gonna do a little exercise with y'all. All right.
Let's do it.
Check this out. Here we go. Let's have some exercise.
We're gonna
take a little.
I need some exercise.
We're gonna take a trip. Now, for this trip, you don't need to you just need to follow me in terms of mentally. All right. So do this all in your head real quick. And everybody listening right now, just follow along. Here we go. I'm gonna walk you through a few steps. If you ever get lost, just go back to the first step and work your way through. All right, here we go. Okay. Pick a number. Pick a number between 1 and 5 in your head. Okay. Got it. Everybody good? Next, multiply your number by 9.
Hold up. All right.
Next, if your new number is 2 digits, add them together. If it's 1, just use that number. Got it. Good?
Yep.
Next, subtract 5.
Yep.
Next, convert your number to a letter. All right, so 1 equals A. 2.
Oh, got it.
4 equals D. Okay. Everybody good?
Got it.
Come on, Doc. Come on.
Next, pick a country. Pick a country that begins with that letter.
Ooh, I got it.
Next, take the last letter of that country.
Got it.
Think of an animal that begins with that letter.
Hold up now, Doc. You get tricky. You get tricky, but I got you.
Wait a minute. Hold up, bro. Okay, I'm there.
You pick the country. Whatever country you pick, the last letter of that country.
Okay.
Animal that begins with that letter.
Oh, I got one.
Yeah.
Right? Next, the last letter of the animal you just chose. Think of a color that begins with that letter.
Doc, you better not.
Yes.
If you guess it, you going to daggone Vegas.
All right. Here's the deal, folks.
I'm just telling you.
Everything is all good. It's very unlikely to find an orange kangaroo.
What? Wait a minute. Stop, bro. Stop. Are you serious?
Las Vegas.
Come on, man.
How did you know that, man? You in my head, Doc.
Slammer, I did not know that, man. We going to Vegas next week. You playing. Let's go.
Yeah, Mike. Coconut.
Oh my God.
How did that happen? I'm just thinking to myself, like, there's no way.
Yeah.
What are we doing? What are we doing here? What?
So Doc, but wait a minute. Does that mean anybody chose number 3?
Hold on.
What number did y'all choose?
No.
All right.
I chose 3.
I thought I was 5.
Hold on. Let me walk y'all through it.
Oh, see, Doc, you got tricks.
Okay. All right, come on. Make sure we got a good Wi-Fi signal. You going in and out, Slammer. You going in and out, Bryant.
All right. Can you hear
or
me?
Dr. Marks. I got to make sure I got the right terminology.
Oh, you got me excited.
Can you hear me?
Oh, that's crazy. Yes.
All right. Orange kangaroo mark, right? That's a sexy kangaroo, right? He's sexy.
Yeah, it is. Laid back. You said it was laid back. Lean back.
Yeah, you started leaning.
It was orange pounding.
Here we go. Let me break it down. I said, pick a number between 1 and 5. You did that, no problem. I said, multiply your number by 9. You did that, no problem.
It's that noise.
Numbers 2 digits, add them together. If it's 1, just use that number. it will always equal 9.
Oh,
Math skills should have been at 9.
see,
Now, the next
Right.
easy. I said subtract 5, it'll always equal 4.
ooh,
4.
It will always equal D.
Yeah.
With basic math and literacy skills should have been at D.
yep.
Then
Right.
I lose some of you. Right? I said pick a country that begins with that letter. In the U.S., it's called a Denmark bias.
Denmark.
Oh,
Yeah.
Denmark is the number one.
Wow.
what?
That's crazy. That's crazy.
But the animal, I got a koala.
What up? Dubai? No, Dubai is a city.
Right. So some people
I
say,
don't know. I'm sorry.
say Djibouti, but
Djibouti.
a lot of countries begin with D in the English language. But in the U.S., Denmark, the most popular answer given. Okay.
He got something going on up there.
So with
Europe. Got it.
the last letter of that country, think of an animal beginning with that letter. In the U.S., we have a kangaroo bias. Kangaroo, number one answer given by Americans.
Really?
Next, think of a country beginning with K. But
Ooh.
some people might have thought koala or kiwi.
Koala. Yes.
But if you said kangaroo, you're still with me. Then I said, using the last letter of the animal you just chose, think of a color that begins with that letter. Other than orange, tell me another common color that begins with the letter O.
Oh, Doc.
Opal.
Opal is a
Ogre?
right?
Olive green. Doc, I'm simple. That's what you're trying to tell me.
No, I'm not trying to say you're simple. I'm trying to say you're human.
I'm simple, man. I'm a simple human.
So, folks, this stuff is not magic. I'm
Yes.
not reading your mind, but I know how your mind works.
It's in my head.
I still think we need to go to Vegas.
I think so too.
You thought you were thinking independently, right? I'm multiplying, adding all this other stuff. Please, I was controlling your thinking the whole time. That happens in life every day. We think we're thinking independently,
Wicked.
right?
Man, wait a minute. Now I got to think what my wife be thinking about
Uh-oh.
when I be thinking it. Oh,
Go ahead.
did
Go
she
ahead.
get one kangaroo?
Oh.
I'm gonna find out. She probably didn't.
Now, then when I gave you some freedom, I leaned on your bias. Why? Because you live in this society and you have a brain. In this society, and have a brain. What country you think you're going to hear more often in the K-12 system in the United States? Denmark or Djibouti? Right?
Good point.
You heard of Djibouti.
Denmark for sure.
Right.
Yes, good
Djibouti.
So that don't mean
point.
that just means society, you're going to hear Denmark more than Djibouti. Djibouti's an
Yeah.
All right,
So
next,
wait. Is there any other country with a D besides Denmark and Djibouti?
Dominican Republic and Dominique.
Dominican Republic, Dominique.
Dominican Republic. You
And
know
I've been
what?
there plenty of times.
Oh, and Democratic Republic of Congo, depend if you still call it that. But,
Shout out to Dominican Republic.
all right.
Yeah.
Next, take the
Yeah.
last letter of the country. So again, you said Denmark. There's the K there. We have a kangaroo bias. You don't love kangaroos, but
No.
kangaroos are probably more likely to come to mind than kiwi bird. Kiwi bird is cool.
I
Love the
did think of kiwi for a second. No, I didn't.
right, not coming to mind.
No.
Natalie,
No way in the world I thought of kiwi bird.
right.
My son might have thought of that.
Right.
No, I didn't.
And just because you thought orange doesn't mean you love orange, but orange will come to mind before olive or ochre, right? That's all
That's
it's.
true.
So we talk about how biases form. It's exposure. So if you've been overexposed
Wow.
to Denmark and kangaroo and orange, you don't think you can be overexposed to people in certain categories and associate traits with them just by living life?
Wow.
I like that.
That's
I like
real.
that. I like that exercise.
That was great.
You got to email that to me, man. I'm gonna do something with that. I'm gonna go to Vegas. I'm like, I'll tell you what.
Right, watch this. I got a whole show for you folks.
On it.
Orange kangaroos everywhere. Let's go.
Hey, look, Jay, I'm gonna have it even better. Underneath my shirt, I'm gonna have an orange kangaroo shirt underneath. They gonna be like, oh! You better watch yourself.
With the 6-pack right on. Get him, bro. Get him.
Right.
Oh,
Love it.
that was very good. Is there? I mean, because we get to that point in time where they're like, okay, you all need to get the heck off this daggone podcast. But is there another quick snippet of something like that you could have us do again, Bryant? Just to, because that was fun, and from that standpoint, with you teaching us something, and it also being fun at the same daggone time, I'm down with anything like that. So,
But you know,
is there something else of implicit bias or something like that you tell us?
Yeah,
I did notice
let's do this real quick. All right, this will work. All right.
Anchor store is orange. 3 of y'all had that, right?
Say again.
Yes.
Bitters. Look, see, orange
The
bitters.
bitters.
Orange
Yes.
bitters. See? Doc, everybody's on it.
Crazy. Everybody's on it. Orange.
Check it out. Here's what we're gonna do.
I'm gonna be saying orange kangaroos from now on, bro.
What face do you see? Okay, let's do it.
I see Zion again.
Yep. But do you see her face? Oh, not yet.
Oh.
Go. This is what I want you to do. I need everybody paying very, very close attention.
I'm ready.
Here's what's going to happen.
Laser focus.
Image on the screen. It's going to be really, really quick. And then afterwards, I want you to tell me what you saw. So everybody at the screen. All right, everybody looking. Everybody that's watching Facebook, whatever. Everybody looking. It's going to be really, really quick. All right, here we go. Here we go real quick. Actually, don't tell me what you saw. Don't tell me what you saw. Try to remember the face. Okay, everybody looking. Here we go. Here we go. Real quick. Here we go. Real quick. Here we go.
Ooh.
Do y'all see that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's real quick.
I think I did.
Is it a person? You want to know the name?
No. Just did you
Oh, I know. I mean, I'm just saying. I know the person.
so you saw the face.
You saw it that good? Hold on. Crap.
All right, now here's the deal. All right, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to show you. That was the face of a young black male. I'm going to show you a lineup.
Yep.
And I want you to pick the face you just saw out of this lineup. Okay.
I'm gonna win.
Oh, snap.
Win this.
I'm gonna count them
I
off.
might get this one.
3, 4, 5. Okay.
All right.
Think this yet. Your face is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In your head, think about your answer. Don't say anything out loud just yet. Okay. Here we go. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right. So let's go one at a time. I can't see everybody. So Jay, call each of y'all off one at a time, and I'm gonna hear the answer.
Oh, snap. Okay.
Take a roll.
All right. I'm gonna say number 2.
Number 2. All right. Next, I can't see your faces, so I don't know who wants to go next. Next,
I think 4.
4. Okay.
Yeah.
Next,
Speedy.
4.
Okay.
I'm gonna say number 4 as well. Yes.
All right. Cool. Now here's
Can I ask a quick question?
Quattro.
Is the person that you showed us in this lineup?
yes, he is there.
Okay. All right.
Okay, good. Okay, good.
Gotcha.
There you go, Matt. There you go, Matt.
Good
I'm
question.
getting the hang of
Good
this.
question. There you go. Come on, man. The bias training is working.
Mental pounding.
All right. But the notion is that she is there. And the answer is, and people are watching on live, number 4. It is number 4.
Yes.
All right. So
Oh, was?
yeah, 4. I'll show it to you again. All right, hold on a second. All right. There he is. All right. Now here's the deal.
Wow.
Jennifer Eberhardt, a Stanford University professor, and her colleagues, they did extended research with the Oakland Police Department. Oakland PD, very diverse. Here's what they found. When taking numerous factors into account, for example, the seriousness of the primary offense, the number of prior offenses, etc., black males with the most prominent Afrocentric features, that is to say, dark skin, a wide nose, full lips, were most likely to receive longer sentences from judges, receive death penalty convictions from juries when the victim was white, not when the victim was black, of color, and be mistaken for a suspect by police. Folks, we are talking about thicker lips, wider nose, darker skin. Death row.
I'm screwed.
Extended sentence. Yes, Jay, you are. All right. And the thing is, when Jennifer did this study, she did the same thing with you as I did with Oakland PD. Oakland PD, very diverse. White, black, Hispanic, Asian cops. Oakland PD, very diverse. She did the same thing with them as I did with you. Showed them one face, and then later on said, pick that face out of a lineup. These are not the faces she used in their published research. These are faces I got off the internet to make the point. But here is just science. Young man number 4, that's a target young man. He's medium brown skin in terms of his complexion. Number 5 is a bit lighter skin. Number 1, lighter skin. Number 2, darker. Number 3, darker. What they found, Oakland PD, as diverse as they are, when they made a mistake picking a young black male out of a lineup, they tended to make a mistake in the direction of the darker. One of these two right.
Darker.
Right?
Right
So
on.
you say officer number 3 is incorrect. Why did you pick number 3? He's unlikely to say, or they're unlikely to say, because he's darker. They're likely to say, because that's what I thought it was. That's what makes it implicit. The officers literally do not know that darker skin is playing a role in their choice. Here's what you must understand, right? Over the last 400 to 500 years, more positive traits have been associated with lighter skinned people, and more negative traits with darker skin, right? Like, let me get out of here. Let me do it this way.
You know, it's crazy. I looked because of the fact that it flashed up so fast that I thought that it was a trickery of the mind. I was like, if I pick number 3 right in the middle, then that's got to be wrong. So I looked to the left on my screen. I was like, okay, I'm gonna pick this brother number 2 because I actually, you know, the first thing I thought when I saw the dude, I thought it was the brother. I forgot his name, but the one who played in Get Out. That's what I thought it was.
Good gracious.
No bull crap.
Okay.
Hey, look, Jay.
That's why when Matt was talking about, I know the name.
Yeah. Well, I thought
it was over.
Yeah.
That was my homeboy Paul. I ain't know. Paul looked just like that though. You saw Paul, you be like, that might be Paul.
That might be Paul.
In fact, I don't know where he's been the past couple months. Just saying. I'm just trying to give you facts.
I love it. My bad. Go ahead, Dr. Marks, sir. What were you saying, my friend?
The deal, right? Over the past 400 to 500 years, more positive traits associated with lighter skinned people, more negative traits with darker skinned people. All right, here's a question for you. Everybody who's been watching, here's a question. Tell me a country anywhere in the world where they have people of color, range from dark skin to light skin, or people of different racial groups, like in the United States, Canada, European countries, where the darkest people in that country are disproportionately in positions of privilege, power, and control. Right? They're the president, parliament, cabinet, CEOs. And in that same country, the lightest people are disproportionately on the bottom.
Right.
The poorest, the most oppressed, disenfranchised, disadvantaged. And don't guess. Tell me a country where you know that to be the case. Anywhere in the world.
I cannot.
Flat out can't do that.
Kind of a struggle, right? Let's go on a tour.
Yeah.
Right? How many of you have been to the Dominican Republic before? Any of y'all been to the
Yes,
DR?
sir.
All right, wonderful. Love the DR. DR. Here's the deal. You know, in the Dominican Republic, they have 5 or 6 different names for shades of brown. Negro, Moreno, Mulatto, Indio, and so forth. And don't be Haitian and go to the Dominican Republic. Hispaniola, as they call it, is one island, one landmass. 2/3 of the island, Dominican Republic. 1/3 is Haiti. Haitians, phenotypically, biologically, right? Many of them are still very dark. They look like traditional Africans. So when Haitian, the Dominican Republic, they're on the bottom of the social ladder because of the skin bias, where lighter skin is privilege, right? And these are all people of color. Go to Cuba. 50 to 55% of people in Cuba are brown to dark brown, right? Go to Rio, right? Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. So you watch the Summer Olympics a few years ago. You see the people looking all light skinned and exotic and beautiful, and that's true. In certain pockets of Copacabana. Go up into those hills, into those favelas, right? Where they have the shacks with the tin roofs, and watch the skin darken. Matter of fact, just Google Salvador de Bahia, or just Google Afro-Brazilians. You don't understand. There are more Africans, right? Afro-Brazilians, black folks in Africa than there are in the United States. You wouldn't even know that based upon the images that get exported, right?
Right.
Hollywood. So they're making movies, dance on platforms, and all that sort of thing. 30 to 35% of people in India, dark. Some of the darkest people in my life have been in India, right? Just
darker than me.
Right. Shiny black dark.
For sure.
Let's bring it on home. Talk to some of my American brothers and sisters. Let's have an honest conversation about Mexico, Central, Southern America, and Puerto Rico. An honest conversation. And in our honest conversation, let's include a few terms. Let's include the term pure Spanish blood. And mestizos, people of mixed background, and pardos, who African background. Have an honest conversation. Who's on top? Who's on the bottom? Mexico, Central, Southern America, Puerto Rico. An honest conversation. Matter of fact, here's your homework. Once you get done tonight, turn on some of your Spanish-speaking channels. If you have cable TV, here's what I want you to do. I want you on to try to find the telenovelas. Those are these soap operas, right? They're very dramatic music. The people who star in those telenovelas tend to be somewhat famous in terms of Spanish TV, right? Here's what I want you to do. Observe skin color, eye color, hair color. Tell me what you see. Then I want you to the 5 and 6 o'clock news on these Spanish-speaking channels, right? Look at the newscasters, the anchor people, the broadcasters, skin color, eye color, hair color. Tell me what you see. For those who don't know, it trends lighter. You go to Asia. Some of y'all like, he not coming for us. Yes, I'm coming for y'all.
Can't escape it, Mr. Bob.
Do you know that in certain Asian countries, if you're dark, you're on the bottom of the social ladder? Because to be that dark, assume you must have been out working in the fields. Folks, global. 194 to 200 countries, depending on how you count, and y'all couldn't tell me one where the darkest people are privileged. Isn't that interesting? Right? Beyond coincidence. Okay. So let's have this conversation. Let's have it. So don't be shocked if I tell you Oakland PD officers pick the darker one. Well, you can't tell me any country, but dark people are privileged, right? Systemically. So we have these conversations, but skin tone bias is real, right? All around.
Absolutely.
Do you know folks in Asia, Asian Americans, when they go outside, many of them, they cover it up with umbrellas and visors so that they don't get any darker? Today, Google skin bleaching in Africa. You got Black Africans in Africa bleaching their skin, catching all types of crazy cancer, trying to get lighter. Today, skin bleaching is a
crazy
business in certain parts of Africa, Southeast Asia. Look it up for yourself. And when you look it up, click on images and see how people are mutilating their bodies to get this lighter skin. Matter of fact, let me just show you this last thing. I promise I'll be done. Let me show you this last one real quick. I know I'm over time. Let me show you this real quick.
I like how you're getting hyped. You got that.
All right, let's go. You want to keep it really real?
Do it. Come on.
Shades.
Stop, man. I knew he was gonna say it. I was about to say Sammy Sosa and Michael Jackson. My bad. Rest in peace, Michael Jackson. I love you, bro.
This is Sammy Sosa.
This is scary.
Sammy Sosa. So for those who don't know, Sammy Sosa, he's a Black Dominican, right? Baseball player, good career, has some ethical issues here and there, but nonetheless, overall, pretty good baseball player.
Yeah.
About 15, 20. Right. This is Sammy Sosa today.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Whoa.
What?
That's the
No.
Matt, you haven't seen him? Matt, you have not seen him? Oh, dude, I saw him. I was like, you got to be kidding me, bro. Yeah, I've been watching him like over the last few years, and like, dude, he has lost his mind.
Yep. Yeah. This dude injections for years to brighten his skin. Then he got a perm and pop blue contacts in his eyes, and and he was rich. He didn't do it to become rich. He was already rich, and still did this, right? So what are we talking about? Mutilating their bodies to get it. People say, well, he had vitiligo. That ain't no vitiligo, please. By his own admission.
That ain't no vitiligo.
Right? Tell me the last time you saw somebody with brown eyes. Sorry. Tell me the last time you saw somebody with blue eyes pop brown contacts in their eyes. Yeah. What are we really talking about here?
Wow.
Yeah.
Woo. Yeah. That's it.
You need to take that chain off too. That chain look crazy.
Oh my God!
Need to get the skin back and take the chain off. That's the way you put an exclamation point and drop a mic on that one, man. Right there, that shows it right there. What really comes out just the hate for your skin. It's crazy. It's crazy, man. The worst chain he can find. God.
Right. Dark is bad, lighter is good. But I mean, it's in folks' head, man. That's a freaking shame.
Yeah, so I know I'm over my time. That was helpful. It gives you some sense. And again, I take them through all that stuff, right?
Well, I'm gonna ask you this real quick. Do we have time? We have time?
I mean, at this point in time, we're
45, so people are still.
Yeah, we're so far behind. Yeah, I mean, we're so far out there, but we still hanging out. We love you. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna say this real quick. When it comes to
Sailor's gonna kick our butt.
I know when it comes to skin complexion, though, especially like in this, like we know about America, the States, how it was pushed, like the whole paper bag, the whole thing, all that. Have had the same issues, I guess, because of is it global, the concept of global beauty or the concept of global hate and fear? I mean, what is this? Why is it that it happened in other countries the same way it did in the States?
Right. Well, I mean,
around the world.
Right. So European influence is significant and strong.
I see.
You got to remember, Europeans went out, although they're sort of what you might consider a younger culture. Historically speaking, I mean, first is Africa, then Asia, and Middle East, and then but the notion is they were colonizers. So they spread these values. Think about it. Let's think about this real quick. The logic of this: we're in the Western Hemisphere, Northern, Central, Southern America, Caribbean, right?
Yeah.
These are all native indigenous peoples, just living here, chilling, living their lives, right? Today, I'm a Black man, African descended, speaking English. That's ridiculous. I shouldn't even be here to begin with. But the notion is, along this whole hemisphere, basically 4 languages are spoken, and none of them are indigenous, right? Spanish, French, Portuguese, and a little bit of Dutch. The whole hemisphere. Do you understand this?
Right.
There were hundreds of thousands of people here. So the European drive to dominate other lands was over hundreds of years. It was
manifest destiny, bro.
Never ending. There was no other continent of people that have attempted to dominate the world at the level that European countries did. There is no equivalent.
Yeah.
Right? So when you're talking about why light is better, why all these other things are better, the influence. So when you hear the term white supremacy, it has different meanings. But the notion of white being supreme, being better, being higher than, yes, Asian folks come in a range of colors, but they literally, I'm telling you, y'all ever see Asian folks in umbrellas and visors?
Yeah.
I was in LA. A Cambodian sister said, "Yeah, I went to see my folks in Cambodia. When I got there, and she was light skinned. They got there. They said, "Oh, you're looking like a little dark. Let's pay for you to have some skin brightening treatments." She was visiting, and they were gonna pay for her to get some skin lightening treatments. That's how deep this is.
Wow,
right?
That's crazy.
Does it have to do a little bit with class too? The idea that if you had to work, you had to be in the sun.
That's part of it.
Part of it.
Part of it. Asia, that's part of it. Because if you're dark, it means you're out in the sun. Yes. And if you want lighter skin, yeah. So that's part of it. Yeah.
Working. I mean, I don't know, man. It's crazy. If you had a job,
right?
I don't know.
But you have the stereotype of being lazy as being, someone of darker hue or black or something like that. You're supposed to be lazy, but it's like I don't work my butt off. Like, are you serious? Like, look at my skin. I'm dark as hell. I'm out here working. So yeah, that's wow.
Lazy. Give me the air conditioning and just hang out. What? Wait a minute.
Man, that's crazy.
Doc, I love it, Doc. That was awesome.
Geez, man, this has been excellent, Bryant. Again, man, I really, really, really appreciate you taking the time to be with us. Whiskey Dads, this has been good. I've enjoyed the conversation. I guess we have to, in a sense, kind of plug Uncle Nearest for a second.
Yeah, absolutely.
We got to make sure we do that. This has been a wonderful conversation. Whiskey Dads, brought to you live by Uncle Nearest Premium Whiskey. I'm getting the call from Sailor to get the heck off the line. So, but we are so proud to be able to bring this to you. Make sure you are out there. You're looking for Uncle Nearest. Wherever you are in your state, of course, stick to the guidelines, shelter in place if you have to do that. But if you need to, you can order Uncle Nearest online at unclenearest.com. Make sure you use the code. What's the code, Mac?
Liquid Gold.
That's right. That's right, baby. Liquid Gold. Liquid Gold gets you a discount on the shipping. I think it makes it free or really deeply discounted for shipping to you. Is that right, Mac?
Matt.
Oh,
Matt C. Matty C.
Yeah, I think it's free shipping still. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So make sure you order us online, or you can also use the other services where they deliver liquor and liqueurs to you. Which one of them I know for sure is Drizzly, and I cannot remember the other one. But we'd like to give a shout out to Drizzly because Kate says we love Drizzly.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
yeah.
There's also Minibar.
Yes.
Minibar, wine.com also delivers.
Hello, Matt.
Minibar, wine.com, and Drizzly are three other services that you can use. And also, like I said, use Uncle Nearest and use code Liquid Gold. Sailor is up in here.
I came to yell at you boys. Look what time it is.
You can see.
It's all good.
Oh my God. Hey, Sailor, we had a great time though. Like we learned a whole lot. And then at the end we saw Sammy Sosa look crazy as hell.
Orange kangaroos.
Yeah.
He was
from Denmark.
Yeah, Denmark. Remember that from now on. Orange kangaroos for sure.
Well, I'm very proud. I'm very proud of you guys. The responses have been fantastic. Yes. And I wanted to in person thank Dr. Marks so much for doing this with us. The response is unbelievable. So I appreciate it so much. It's really important work. So thank you.
I love it.
Yes, indeed. We've been doing a whole lot on here.
We gotta get Doc a shirt.
We gotta bring you back from time to time too, man, for real, because this has been amazing. And then the other part I wanted to say, and Speedy showed it too. We have the mask. Part of what we've been doing on the other side, because Uncle Nearest is more than whiskey. # more than whiskey. We have an Operation Brothers Keeper, in which we're getting out masks all around the country to neighborhoods, to stores and stuff like that, where disproportionately African Americans are becoming more affected with COVID-19. So we're making sure that people know about it. So we have flyers and brochures that talk to you about COVID-19, as well as passing out the masks that are free. So you'll be seeing them all over in different cities. I know, Mac, you got some buses that have the flyers on them, and I got billboards coming in ATL. So you all keep your eyes peeled, but we're getting out there and make sure people are covered up. So everybody, please take care of yourselves and each other and your families, and make sure you're wearing your mask. Stay inside. See, whatever you got to do to make sure you survive during all this time, make sure you stay safe and stay healthy, and continue to love and support this brand. We thank you so very much. That's all I got to say. Anybody else got something? I'm good. I'm going to zip it for now.
This man has his tie undone. He's exhausted. Let him have a drink and go to bed.
Good night. Right on, man. So peace and love to my whiskey dads, Mac in Virginia, Matt C out in Cali. My man Speedy, Speedy out there in Nashville, keeping it real, and Dr. Marks again, man, my brother, man. I appreciate you, sir. Everybody have a great night, and thank you all. Peace and love from the whiskey dads.
All right, folks. All right.